away from family, away from support circles. Man, did it pounce. Grief, just, wow. Why did I have to wait until paradise? I'll never know, but what happened was, everything was hunky-dory. The thrill of landing in tropical paradise. It was a dream 20 years in the making for me and for my wife at the time. It was really something that she dreamt about as well. But it just wasn't meant to be. And after the initial exhilaration and excitement of being in Hawaii and all that entails, the beauty of it, the spectacular scenery, wow. Oh man, look at this. Just the beauty of an island in the middle of the Pacific with a dormant volcano on it. Wow, it was just really, really outrageously spectacular. And when you allow grief to accumulate over the years, which we both had, maybe 3 years after my father died, 3 years after her grandmother died, her last parental figure, 6 years after my mother died, and there was a whole host of other deaths involved on both sides, and all unresolved. So, over time, yeah, and like we got there in May, landed in Maui in May, and by December, our relationship was broken beyond repair. And that was down to accumulated grief. It just reared its ugly head for both of us, but we didn't know what was going on. And slowly but gradually just reared its head, peeking out, and it rendered me speechless, which is unusual for an Irishman in paradise, or anywhere for that matter. And I have to say, I confess to drinking like copious amounts of cheap wine, ship wine, beers, cheap whiskey from Costco, ridiculous 2-litre bottles of Jameson, like they were cheaper in Hawaii than they were 20 minutes from where it's made, where I'm from. And yeah, I just didn't know what was going on. I couldn't articulate my feelings. I just lost the plot, lost my motivation, even to surf, to work, to any of that. Nothing was going right for me. And in the relationship, even though the will was there, the knowledge, or the emotional intelligence to understand what was going on, it just didn't register with us. And she couldn't handle my silence, my unwillingness to speak, my inability to speak. And it just went pear-shaped. It just went arse over tits. And pretty soon, we weren't communicating too well. And in fairness, the love was there, but it was definitely a case of we just couldn't figure out what was going wrong.